Hello, thank you for joining me for my regular Sunday Facebook Live. My name is Tracy Helt. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne in Australia. Today I decided to do something a little bit different, and I don't have the cards fully designed yet, so hopefully it's going to go okay, because normally I like to know what I'm doing, that we're going all good. But this is a really cute new kit that was released at the beginning of this month, and it's called the Birthday Fancy Kit. Now, hopefully you can see here, I don't know whether that light's shining on it, it gives you 12 different cards to make in the kit, but the instructions actually only show you for 3 of the cards. So let me just show you what's in the kit. You get a stamp set, and obviously they just show it in all the different languages. I've only got the English one, but there's some really nice sentiments in there. I think that these are really usable sentiments for birthdays. And we're going to need that block, and then you get heaps and heaps of stuff. There is so much in this kit. You've got banners, you've got labels, you've got frilly bits, more label frilly bits, banners, stripes, doilies, and we're just going to keep going. You can see I've used some of them, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then you've got all these different pop-outs with different cakes and cupcakes and macarons and donuts and all kinds of different things. There is an absolutely massive sheet of dimensionals. We've got these envelopes with the gold dots, and then you've got 3 different card bases, and you get 4 of each, so you can make 12 cards with this. Now, okay, hang on, got so much to tell you today, but these are the cards that the instructions make. Alright, so we've got that one, and let's just move these out the way for the minute, and that one. Okay, now these ones, each of these little bits is a separate piece from the kit, so those use quite a lot of the pieces, but then you'll find that there are other pieces in that kit which have everything all connected, so you would only need to use one of those to put on your cupcake. Oh, on your cupcake, yes, on your card. Alright, so what I'm going to do today is show you some different ideas. Now, I think that this is a me thing. It may not affect you, but I always look at these cards and they're beautiful, but they're printed on the front and the back of the card, and I think it's a bit of a waste having the back of the card printed. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut them in half. So that means that I'm getting more cards out of my kit. And like I say, there's so many pieces here. You can always use, you know, like these kind of pieces for something else. But what I've done is I've actually started 2 of the cards, so they stuck and they just need some decorating. And then for the 3rd one, I'm going to show you a fault line card using this, and we're going to change it up a little bit. Alright, so for my first one, I've cut that stripy card base. Let's just pull it out again. So that one into pieces, matted them, and stuck them onto a petal pink card base with a white mat. And now we're just going to decide how we want to decorate it. So, and like I said, here's where things may get a little bit complicated, because I haven't actually planned this in advance. But what we might do is I'm looking for the cakes that are quite tall, and because I've got the 3 singles, we may just go with singles. Alright. Nope, that's too small. Told you that this was just because there's so many options here. I just want to see, I've got one lying here, but there we go. So that's a different one to what I've already used. So let's just quickly put these onto dimensionals. And let me break into my big sheet. Like I said, these are really easy to make. The only problem is trying to pick the correct card every time, or the correct cake to put if you're following the instructions. But if you're just not worried about that and doing it as you go, then that's fine. Now, I'm just thinking, what are we going to do for a sentiment on this one? I'm going to take this happiest birthday. And I'm going to stamp that in Petal Pink ink. I just want, and I'm going to go with one of these strips. And here's hoping that I can stamp it straight. That'll do. And I'm going to just, I want the dimensionals that they're a little bit in, because I don't want dimensionals over dimensionals where we've got our cakes already on dimensionals. But we're going to stick that over there. And I always need some bling. That's the one thing that this kit doesn't have, is bling. But these are the low profile dots. They're in online exclusives, and they've got petal pink and gold, so those are going to work for us for two of the cards that I'm doing today. There we go. So that's one completely different to our kit. Then for the other one, I've cut a circle out of the Dotty card, the cloud cover one, that one, and then, so this is my second largest stylish shaped circle, third largest, and that's the second smallest one. And I've just stuck them on, stuck another piece crooked. I try to stamp my sentiments straight, but now I'm not sure about that, because I don't know whether it looks funny, whether it actually also should have been at an angle, but that's okay. It is where it is right now. And then what I'm going to do is maybe put cake, and we can put some macarons And I'm just thinking, does that cake look a little bit lonesome? Alright, so let's do that. I'm going to stick the, when I said the cake, I actually meant a pie. I'm sure you realise that. And there were some tiny little flowers, but maybe we'll just, no, we won't put a teacup with it. There my tiny little flowers are. I'm just going to put these tiny little flowers in at the bottom over there. Alright, so come up with different ideas. You can have great fun playing with these. What I will do is I will write up a tutorial with all the measurements and what I've done here. So I'll get that up probably tomorrow. But now our last card I'm going to do is going to be a fault line card. So I've got all my bits and pieces. What I've done is I've embossed this piece of the top of the cardstock. And now what you want to do is take your gold, place it against the top of the card base and tear. Okay, so trying to keep that gold in place, and you want to tear that it's actually going a bit wiggly all over, so don't try and tear in a straight line. We actually want it to be crooked. And then what I'm going to do is stick this onto my gold. So we want some of the gold showing over here. And you can make as much or as little as you like. And then we're doing the same onto the top of the card. If I can figure out which hand I actually want to be holding it with, that would make things easier. And now I'm going to figure out where I want to stick. So this is that third card that comes in the kit, and yeah, I think that looks good. So I'm not too worried about sticking anything straight because we are going to hide it all. Okay, just trying to line up the edges, and if those edges go skew, don't panic about it because you can always trim them off afterwards. Okay. And then this one, making sure that the bottom of the card is lined up with the bottom edges. And now, because I don't want, oops, hang on, just have to shift this. It looks like it's just slightly off. Hopefully that's sitting right now. Now, when we open up the card, I don't want to see all that on the back. So I've got another piece of Lost Lagoon, and I'm just going to stick that completely over everything. And again, it should all line up. Right, now I'm slightly off on the bottom there, but that's okay. I'll just trim that if I need to afterwards. Now I have a piece for the insert, and I have another strip of the gold dotty bit, so I'm going to just stick that along the bottom. Bring in those gold dotty bits. And stick that inside. What I have done for this card, and just because I wanted more of the gold edging, I've got some of these, and they are called A Touch of Gold Tags Mix and Match Specialty Ephemera Pack, if you can get your tongue around that. So they are tags, but they've got all these different shapes and they've got that gold edging. So what I've done is I've taken one of them and I've stamped that Let's Eat Cake sentiment on it. Now, I knew that this was going to be too long, and I'm quite fine with that because my plan was to cut that down anyway. Okay. Hi, Carol. That's nice of you to join me from so far away. You can always go back and catch up the beginning, but I think that this is probably the most exciting card that I've done today. And then that's too big. So this time I'm going to take some of these multi-packs of cake, and let's see, how am I going to get this? Alright, let's just cut this off first. Okay, so I'm going to start with cutting that. Maybe I like it like that. Like I said, you don't often get to go through my design process because I like to be prepared for my lives, but this one I decided that. There we go. Okay, so heaps of dimensionals on here, I think. There we yes. Pop that over there. And we're going to use, if I can find where I put them, the same embellishments that I used for the last card. So those low profile dots, and this time I'm going to use the gold ones and just add some more gold dots to the card. Oops. Alright, so just realized that I didn't actually add any bling to this one because I wasn't using the same, but I'm going to use some of these in colored dots, and yeah, I've used so many dimensionals. I have dimensional backings everywhere because that makes it a little bit better, doesn't it? All finished off with the bling. So here are my 3 alternative cards to the kit. I'll just pull in the ones that I made directly following the instructions from the kit. And here's where it looks like I actually need a bigger mat. But you can see these are heaps of fun. and I think that anybody getting them would absolutely love them. I'm going to play with them some more, so I will show you more of what I make, but like I said, I will get a tutorial written up for you with the measurements and what I did on those 3 cards, and I will get that posted tomorrow. So enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I will see you again next week. Until then, bye for now.